again, sizing up Murphy. Drives, floats, hangs, and scores on the turnaround. JDub way behind the three-point line and hits way behind the three-point line. Got blocked. What a rejection by Holmgren. Standing tall like a wall.
This is Udart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested Podcast, coming to you live after the first preseason game of the 2024-25 Thunder NBA campaign, where the Thunder win against the San Antonio Spurs 112-107. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. We've got my guy, Nick Crane, here tonight.
Got people in the chat upset that we are late. I have two thoughts about that. One, yes, we are. It's preseason for all of us. Two, the fact that there's people that are just itching to hear us talk is a good thing.
Three, we were late because of the hole in Nick's ceiling. We got Taylor Peterson here as well.
Hole in Nick's ceiling. Taylor trying to get a toddler down. Sweet little Brooks watched the third quarter of the Thunder and the second quarter of the Chiefs game with me, so that was fun. Knock on wood, though, I think we finally got him down. So excited to talk some basketball. Excited to be back.
I'm glad you say got him down and not put him down, because that would have a completely different context. Few little things before we start the show tonight. Number one, shout out to everyone in the live stream. If you do not join the live streams, I would suggest you do so by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Just search The Uncontested on YouTube. You can find us. Click the little bell so you know when we go live, which is, I'm going to tell you, after every Thunder game, and Wednesdays and Sundays at 9. Also, drop a like while you're here. Hit that little thumbs up button. That would mean a lot for us. We'd really appreciate that. If you watch the YouTube videos, but not live, thanks so much. Still drop the like. Leave a comment. That'd mean a lot. We're trying to get those YouTube subscription numbers up, so help us out. And if you're one of the podcast listeners like I am, thanks for downloading the show wherever you get it from. Drop that 5-star rating. Leave a little review. Some bad news. We can't get super chats right now. So
Nick got us banned. Let it be on the record.
We got put in YouTube jail. So we will find a way around that. But I know you guys were always dropping super chats and giving us money. So we really appreciate that. We may find a Venmo workaround in the future. So we'll see about that until they let us out of jail. Free my man, the Uncontested. Also, within probably the next week, I think within the next week, maybe by the Wednesday show, I think for sure by the Sunday show, we got some announcements, some exciting stuff happening in Uncontested Land. So stay tuned for that. But I will tell you one thing that's maybe more exciting than anything I could say. We saw this team play basketball, boys. And damn, did I miss it.
Hadn't been that long.
Hey,
it was long enough.
Long. That's what she said.
The past few seasons have been a hell of a lot shorter. Few off seasons, I should say.
You mean shorter or longer?
Longer off seasons. Shorter seasons. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
However, post-COVID, we had 2 back-to-back shortened off seasons. So, give or take.
Mathematically,
this is true.
I'm not sure, but yes. It feels like it, at least.
So, Thunder win 112-107 against the Spurs. Shea and Lou did not play. On the Spurs side, there was no Victor Wembanyama, no Chris Paul, no Zach Collins, no Devin Vassell. I think that's the guys that really matter that didn't play for the Spurs. No offense to those other Spurs lower level guys, but it just is what it is. Thunder starting lineup tonight was Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Usman Jang, Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace. Leading minutes getters off the bench would be guys like Dylan Jones, AJ Mitchell. They played 26 and 24 respectively. Caruso and Ihart played 17 apiece. Flagler got 15. Dukas got 13. Isaiah Joe, 18. Cormac Ryan got a full minute of basketball.
And he got a 3-up.
He did get a 3-up.
Shoot your shot.
+2 in 1 minute. That's pretty good. Some dude named Leones, who I had no clue was on
Malvi.
the training camp training camp roster until he
But-
checked in.
Yes, you did.
Yes,
We
you
met his
did.
agents at Summer League, and they followed us. You're
He
being
didn't,
very
he didn't
disrespectful
talk
right now.
at media day though, did he, Nick?
You didn't.
No. None of the guys that are not on two ways
Exhibit
with white ones.
10s.
Yeah.
He's a camp guy. Yeah.
Yep. Who had a lot of time with the blue.
Feels like we have a lot of things to talk about. Those of you in the chat tonight, if you have questions or things you want us to chat about, drop them in the chat in the comments. You can't do a super because we got banned, but you can still drop your thoughts. We will bring those up later on in the show. Nick, I'm going to start with you. Plethora of things we can talk about: individual performances, overall themes, play style, whatever. Chet Holmgren hurting his hand, maybe? Not sure what he hurt. I thought it was his private parts, the way he was kind of like holding down there. But it's also like, when you hurt your hand, like you kind of hold it down. So he was holding it kind of down near the old ball and chain. So I
Also
wasn't
referred to professionally as the growing area.
So I wasn't sure what he hurt. We can talk about that. Where would you like to start, Nick?
I like to start with the new guys. Alex Caruso, Isaiah Hartenstein. Both were unreal. And it's preseason, but like the plus 20 and the box minus checks out. I think Caruso deflected every pass that came within 15 feet of him. Hartenstein had, 8 rebounds and 7 assists in like 17 minutes. He had like
3. No, hold on. I don't know what I'm doing here.
4 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block in 17 minutes.
Unreal.
Plus 20.
Unreal. Like I don't think we've talked about, and I'm not saying I think this is the case after one preseason game. I think the conversation has been, can Hartenstein be the same guy in OKC that he was in the playoffs with New York? It's how does he fit alongside, good grief, these chats. How does he fit with Oklahoma City? The question is almost like, can he be as good as he was last season? I think what we failed to talk about is, what if he's better? Like, he's still a young guy.
Talk to me, Nick. Talk to me.
Like, he's talked about amongst a lot of podcasts and writers and social media as like a guy that's hit his ceiling. Like, can he do that again? It's like, what if he hit his floor and like, just like a regular 26-year-old, he's better the next year, and then he's better. You know what I mean? Like, now that I've seen him in this system, it's like, why aren't we talking about that?
My big takeaway from the two, Nick, and I think you're spot on. They didn't start; they subbed in. I don't read anything into that.
I actually like that for what
Usman Jang also started the game, so don't read anything into
and
that.
I liked that. We can get into it.
We can get into it. It looked seamless to me. There was no, I don't know where to be. Where do you want the screen? I'm holding the ball too much. I'm getting rid of it too quick. It was just kind of hand and glove fit. I mean, especially there was an iHeart fake DHO turn, drive the lane, little like hook pass to a cutting Alex Caruso for a baseline midi pull-up. And then the one that just makes you just start to salivate a little bit, gets you a little fuzzy feeling. The Thunder miss a shot. Hartenstein goes over somebody, rips a rebound, takes one dribble out, turns, sees a cutting JDub, throws the bounce pass for a dunk. That was sick. Like when you add a guy like Hartenstein and a guy like Caruso, the chemistry and the feel just kind of comes naturally. And that's what really stuck out to me with those two tonight.
I think I was surprised by just how natural it came immediately. And I love them using iHeart as kind of the playmaking hub. They're flashing him to the high post, using him in the pick and roll action. We talked so much about this preseason and off season. We finally got to see it in the first preseason game, but the amount of space that he creates on those screens, like how much space do guys like JDub and Casey Wallace be able to get off some 3-point shots because of the space that iHeart creates. And then not only that, but like you mentioned, his playmaking. I mean, the one that stood out to me, and I think you alluded to it, but had the dribble handoff there between iHeart when he set the screen, got the ball in the high post, and he sends it right back to Chet for the slam dunk there in that first quarter. That's 2 7-footers doing that.
7-footer DHO on the perimeter.
Absurd.
They looked insane together.
They're blocking everything down low on the other end together. Like, it's exciting.
Hey, we got a very limited view of Chet, and we don't know about the injury. He seems fine. He came back to the bench. He was chopping it up with the guys. Everything seemed fine. He took like 1-3, I think. Guys, I was kind of blown away by Chet's ability just to put the ball on the floor, blow past a guy, and get a dunk. I mean, he spammed it over and over and over again and ended up 5 of 5 for 10 points in like 6 minutes of play. I mean, he was just I know the Spurs weren't playing Wemby. I know they didn't have a traditional big man. It was Jeremy Sohan out there. I don't care. It was sick, and it gave me a ton of faith that you want to play the 2 bigs, Chet can play the 4 just fine.
Yes.
Like I was kind of blown away at the ball handling and the first step and the ability to get downhill.
Do you guys remember when us 3 were watching him at Summer League 2 years ago? And we were talking, actually, no, sorry, 3. You guys were watching him at Summer League. I was watching him from home. And we were talking about, he stands too straight up. He's getting stripped by smaller guards. We saw some of that his quote unquote rookie year this past season, but he just looks so much more comfortable and strong driving, putting the ball on the floor and being able to just drive to the rim and create for teammates. I mean, it's incredibly impressive. It was really exciting. And I hope, like you said, hopefully it's not a serious injury. We get to see him the rest of preseason because I want to see more and more of Chet with the ball in his hands. I thought it was interesting. We saw him a lot with the ball in his hands early on without Shea.
The old phrase, guys that can dribble, pass, shoot, I think is overused a bit. But you think about the most versatile teams out there, and it's like they say the whole team can dribble, pass, shoot, and it's like really most of the team can, but you got a couple guys that you don't trust, dribbling the ball, or guys that aren't really great passers, or guys that can't shoot all that well. I think unless I'm thinking or not thinking of somebody, like all 14 guys on full-time contracts can dribble, pass, shoot. Like it doesn't matter what combination of 5 guys of the 14 you throw out there, like you can almost do anything with anybody.
Agreed. Totally agreed. We've hit on Chet. We've hit on the 2 new guys. What direction do you guys want to go next?
Let's go rookies.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's a good transition, Nick. You mentioned the style of play and just the same archetype player maybe isn't even the right term, but just these players that are able to come in and still maintain that style of play. We saw that with the young guys, like the rookies.
Totally agree.
Want to start with?
Yeah. I'm going to go real quick,
both.
and then I want to get Nick's thoughts on this. My holistic biggest takeaway from this game, like, was Chet awesome? Yeah. Did Hart and Caruso look great? Yeah. Did Dub just cook the absolute piss out of everybody? Yeah. My biggest individual takeaway from watching this basketball game tonight, AJ Mitchell's got it. Like, there's been a lot of time. I really go back to the Gordon Hayward trade is really when my mindset flipped. When Gordon Hayward started in Oklahoma City after the trade deadline last year and didn't play well and kept stacking stinker on top of stinker, I kept preaching like to people who would text me and say, hey, he might be washed. I would preach like, hey, it's small sample size, give him some time, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't believe the eye test. And I kind of got, it proved to me, like, you got to trust your eyes a little bit. Dude, what I see from AJ Mitchell, the kid is confident. He plays tough as shit. He's just got a great feel for the game. He's exactly what they want in like a guard who just makes the right play. He was living at the rim. My favorite part of the night was when Us like had a bad foul and the team kind of huddled. You know who was in there barking orders and like taking command of the team? AJ Mitchell, the rookie.
To be fair, he's like a handful of years older than Us, but I loved it as well.
Us has been here for 3 years, though. You know,
I
like
know. No, I agree
he
completely.
should be the
I
guy
just-
more comfortable in that situation.
Absolutely.
AJ he impressed the hell out of me tonight. If you told me we get to the end of camp and they just bump him up to the regular contract and give him that final standard contract slot, like I wouldn't be shocked. Now, I don't think that's going to happen before camp is over. I bet it happens closer to the trade deadline. But still, I've been like between summer league, what we heard from camp, and then now this first preseason game, AJ Mitchell's kind of just blown me away.
He's good. He is he's best with the ball in his hands, like a lot of guys of his archetype. He's shown some stuff at the college level at UCSB and elsewhere that he can play off the ball and be effective. I think he's gonna have to lean into that to play NBA minutes. I think G League will be like a primary ball handler, but if you plug him into the Thunder's lineup, if it's not in like a backup point guard role, if he's playing with like a Dub or a Kaysen where like you want them to have the ball, I'm curious what that looks like. And it may not be like even this year. Like we're like AJ Mitchell, I don't think, as good as he's been and blown Jacob away, like I don't think Jacob's even saying he's a top 12 rotation guy. He's not going to play every night or even close to it likely. But if he wants to get minutes this season, I think that are not like experimental, I think he'll have to be as an off-ball guy. So I want to see some of that moving forward.
Same exact thought that I had, Nick. Again, just kind of watching AJ after the Thunder drafted him and diving into the tape. Obviously, like you say, somebody who's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, especially with the blue. I think the Thunder don't want to take away from that necessarily, which is why he's going to be on a two-way and probably not get converted until maybe closer to the trade deadline if he continues to impress, or not until next season, because he needs to get those on-ball reps as well and develop as a playmaker and on-ball player just in general and be able to create his own shot. But his ability to get downhill and get to the rim is just incredibly impressive. And the off-ball thing was the biggest question I had when he was getting all the hype from Coach Daignault and Dub here over the past couple of days. But he scored his first, 7 points or 8 points within 7 minutes when he was playing off, or maybe it's not necessarily off ball, but sharing ball handling duties with, I think it was JDub, maybe Kaysen, somebody like that. I mean, he wasn't thrown in like a second lineup. I mean, it was he was kind of mixed in with some of the starters. And that's what was incredibly promising to me. Now, the 3-point shot, that's going to have to come along if he's going to be able to play off ball. 1 of 4 from the floor. A lot of those shots came in that second half. Something to keep an eye on. But 8 of 13 from the floor, 19 points. We haven't read off his stat line. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Like, that's absurd. All in 23 minutes. AJ,
the efficiency was great too. 8 of 13. That's including the 1 of 4 from 3. You take away the 1 of 4 from 3, he was 7 of 9 from inside the 3-point line. Like, that's sick.
I think the most impressive thing of him, I'm combining like summer league thoughts and preseason thoughts all in one. He is another quality defender that's different than other guys in this roster. Like Caruso, great defender. Dort, great defender. Kaysen, great defender. All three of those guys like defend differently. I think AJ is he's not at their level. I think AJ is a quality defender, but in a different way. Like his change of direction, quickness, and his peskiness, and like saw it in summer league, he'll pick up full court. I don't think he'll do that a ton at the NBA level, but like with him, it's the effort. Like in the minutes he gets, he is going to never, ever, ever, ever get to like 0 miles per hour. He's always moving, always giving 100%, which like that's the kind of guy that you can root for very easily.
He's got some dog for sure. Yeah. Like you can just see. Speaking of dog, my guy Dylan Jones.
Yeah, my draft crush since last January. I've never hit on draft prospect. This is the only one.
I hope you guys out there listening to the podcast follow the Uncontested Twitter account. Didn't get a lot of love, but I tweeted out my first gem of the year where Dylan Jones subbed in, and I tweeted out the video of "That's a thick old boy." It's gonna be a sounder. I'm fine with that. 2020. I
want to see 240.
He's a thick old boy, and man,
Unreal.
the MIDI The midi is nice. The passing is nice. I was impressed, and I've said this on the show. As far as just perspective and maturity and just level of human, like he's really impressive to me. And then he came out there and just whooped ass tonight. Did Presti do it again?
Too early to say. But I'll
is.
say about Dylan is when you're scouting a guy, you are trying to project what will translate at the next level. I think there's a lot of things when you watch Dylan, especially the rebounding, like that's a very translatable skill. The passing, very translatable skill. I think the biggest question mark with him was self-creation and the ability to generate space between him and his defender. A lot of his college tape, it was like a slow crossover, or like it was a move where you're like, yeah, if that wasn't a Big Sky Conference defender, like that ain't working. But then we've seen a sample size now again between summer league and preseason where it's like, well, damn, that move is still working. And like the NBA is a whole different step, but we keep getting closer to like well, shit, what if that move that most teams had a late first, early second round grade on him because they didn't think this stuff would translate. What if it starts like, and all of a sudden it's a whole different conversation, and then we're getting ahead of ourselves right now anyways, but it's good to see a guy that can go to the next level and play the way he did so successfully at the college level and not have to like be a different version of himself.
So, Nick, I agree with you completely, but I think we have, and we need to give credit to Dylan for putting in some improvements in that area. Like you said, the ball handling, the creation was very slow. This past year at Weber State, his final year at Weber, but he was just so strong. He's able to blow by defenders essentially and either create for teammates at that point or be able to drive to the rim. Also was able to, when he was open, get his own 3-point shot up. But instead of like, I mean, he's tightened up the handle, which is important. But I think more than anything, it's not like he sped up those dribble crossover moves to create separation, like you mentioned. It's his strength. He's learned how to utilize his body and his strength to be able to create that separation without drawing the offensive foul. That's allowed him to. We saw 2, 3, maybe 4 of those where he was at the free throw line, basically created enough space using his body to be able to hit that pull up. And he has such a nice stroke, being able to knock that down. I think it's more so his strength that is utilizing while also tightening up that ball handling. I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing more different types of defenders. Like I think he's going to bully smaller guards that are quicker than him. I think he's a good counter to that. I think conversely, there's a lot of bigs that just don't have the foot speed to keep up with him. I'm curious about the Jaden McDaniels, like the big combo forwards that can move and do have the length. Like, of course, those guys are going to lock down anybody. When you get to the NBA, there's more of those type of players that have speed and have size. And I think that Dylan has a counter for lack of size and he has a counter for lack of foot speed. In the NBA, there's going to be less guys where you have one or the other.
That intersection. Yeah.
So,
and then, I mean, off ball again, just like AJ, that's going to be huge for Dylan, who's used to having the ball in his hands. But what I loved Mark doing, and we have to give credit to the coaching staff, is using him as just like Hartenstein as a playmaking hub. Flashing him up to the high post and those pick and rolls, like that created so much for that offense, even without some of the starters in or some of the even second string players, if you want to call them that, for the Thunder in. I loved seeing that and the way that this coaching staff is already utilizing him. So I just want to give a lot of credit to them. And I can't wait to see more of it.
Rookies look good, man. Rookies looked good.
They do.
Nick, where do you want to go after that? We've done new guys, Chet, rookies.
Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, let's chat. Let's chat Oos. We can't do this podcast without some Oos.
The Aju. We will be right back. Shout out to Nick for remembering the ad break that I didn't. We'll be back in just a second. And we are back. Nick wants to talk the Usman Jang.
Do I need to read a Blue Wire ad read really quickly?
Nope.
Perfect. Never mind.
I
Disregard.
think since we're going to talk Usman Jang, we have to start with Taylor, because I think if I remember correctly, the top of the pod, that was someone that he was interested in talking about, maybe had some thoughts on. I, for what it's worth, don't have any positive or negative thoughts on Us after this game. I think he did some interesting things. I think he did a lot of things that were like, golly, that you've not improved at all in that area. So it's a neutral for me.
What is this? I go from like being destroyed in the chat usually to just being gassed up tonight. I'm not sure what's going on.
Wow.
I get a
I'm
haircut.
trying to put
I
an
don't
end to
wear-
it right now.
I don't wear a hat. Apparently, I need to stop wearing hats
Wow.
and wear polos more often.
TP, you've leveled up in year
That's
7
right.
of podcasting. What do you think about
maybe
Oops
my
in year
takes
3?
will start being respected as well. No,
We got a ways to go for that one, buddy.
that's why I'm here. Gotta level you guys out with my takes. My only take on Us is actually pretty disappointing. Carrie, shout out Carrie, I miss you. My only take on Us was just that I liked that Mark started him. Again, I didn't see anything.
That's the end of the analysis?
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's what we pay you for?
In the story, you guys don't pay me nothing. I liked using this opportunity instead of just starting Caruso and Hartenstein for Mark to bring in somebody like an Us and a Kaysen. I think that was really good for them. And I think we saw some positive things from Us during that time, just him playing within the flow. He had some good defensive plays.
I thought defensively he looked okay.
Right.
Offensively, it was bad. I thought defensively,
we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. I'm with you, Jacob. I'm still not high on
you said end of analysis after the fact that he started. Now you're saying
no.
So.
Jacob said end of analysis. I thought he looked fine in those minutes, and I liked Mark throwing him. My point is, I liked Mark throwing him in that situation compared to just throwing him out in like a second unit or third unit where he's probably going to struggle. He didn't do anything noteworthy, and I'm not sure he's going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity. But it certainly was better for Us, I think, for him to be in this situation with the starters, quote unquote starters, than him being thrown in with like AJ Mitchell, Dylan Jones, etc. You may speak, Jacob.
Thank you for the permission, Mr. Peterson. That's the whole point, right? Like, Us looked good when he's playing next to Chet Holmgren and JDub and Kaysen Wallace. And then he's getting run with all the G League dudes in the fourth quarter and doesn't look good at all. So while I think he played well defensively in that starting lineup, he was pretty insulated. And I mean, I would hope you look good when you're out there with those guys.
Counterpoint, I would rather Usman Jang look good with the guys that are going to play NBA minutes than the G Leaguers, because if he's ever going to stay on this roster, it's going to be because he can be plugged in with NBA guys, not because he looks good with G. You know what I mean? Like, would you have rather he looked like crap with the NBA players and then just balled out with the G Leaguers? That's Usman Jang the last 2 years.
I agree. But I'm saying, what is the takeaway from seeing that? To me, it's not that, oh, Us played so well.
Totally.
It's Us got paired. You throw me out there with those guys, I'm probably going to have like a net positive rating.
And if you're a guy that can be thrown out with them and have a net positive, I think that makes you a rotational player.
I just think player? He didn't look any different than he did the past 2 years out there.
I was more impressed with the rookies' minutes than I was with Us's minutes.
I agree. And we saw AJ Mitchell, for example, and Dylan Jones perform better when they were thrown in with some of those starters.
And then we saw them perform better without those guys as well.
Right. My whole original point was that I liked what Mark did with Usman tonight, not so much as I liked what I saw from Us, if that's fair.
Us has...
I have no positive or negative. I'm throwing out thoughts.
For sure. Us has 4 more preseason games to kind of put together a case. Hey, I deserve to get minutes when the season starts. Test number 1 tonight. While he didn't fail the test, I just think there were guys in the class that scored higher.
Agreed.
I like that teacher analogy.
I do it.
Hey, one more player, just quickly, because he was so dominant. There's not much to say about him other than like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch him play basketball. Jalen Williams.
Dude, he's
18 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 of 14 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, 101 free throws. That's all in 16 minutes.
And
What
he
was it?
had like
8 minutes?
two or
Or sorry.
three layups rim out as well.
What was it? Like 8 points. Let's see. Close the half with back-to-back threes and 1 mid-range jumper. So he had 7 points, 8 points in just over a minute. That's absurd.
He snapped. He's badass, dude.
He's very good. I
He's
can't wait to watch him
badass.
and Shea together. Cannot wait.
Also got to give a shout out to Cason Wallace, who I thought looked really good in 26 minutes.
Agreed.
9.7 rebounds, and assists and a steal. 4 of 6 from the field. Really attacked the rim a lot tonight, which I like to see.
Saw the ball in his hands more, just like we were hoping to. Nothing like spectacular or no like sets ran for him, but we saw him obviously with the ball in his hands more without Shea and Lou out there. Question for you guys. Wednesday night, Lou and Shea both rested. Obviously, they both will probably be playing unless something's wrong, which doesn't appear to be. Do we think Dub and Chet now, maybe a Caruso or Hartenstein are rested? Or do we think we see?
I think
like
somebody else will rest. I don't know who it will be. It wouldn't shock me if it's Chet with the quote unquote injury tonight. I think the only time you see like a real rotation is the last preseason game.
Maybe not even then. And even if we do,
I think you might see it for like a half,
even
or
if we
3/4.
see-
It's just like a dress rehearsal.
even if we saw the top 10 guys all healthy and suited up, I still think Mark would do something so random with the starting lineup, and like, or he would play the guys we think are the starters this season, and he won't commit to it. Pre-game, he'll tell the beat reporters that here's our starting 5 for the night. Someone will follow up with, "Is that your starters for opening night?" And he's going to say, "We're not sure yet." We're not going to know.
Same exact thing.
Don't try to analyze preseason lineups or rotations or anything, because it has nothing to do with the regular season. And if you think it does, you're not going to get confirmation until 90 minutes before tip. Because I think that's
the
the away
requirement.
coach. You'll get it like 110 minutes before tip on opening night.
Mark just saving all the starters for the big preseason game. It's the New Zealand Breakers down in my hometown of Tulsa, and Nick's hometown. Can't blame him.
You going?
No, I don't think. Well, maybe. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. You want to go?
Sure.
Let's go.
No.
Well, they do have some games on the horizon. Wednesday night, they are back in Paycom Center to take on the Houston Rockets and the Little Boys. Thursday, they are back in Tulsa to take on the New Zealand Breakers. Then it's not till next week where they have 2 more preseason games. We'll be with you Wednesday after that Rockets game and Thursday after that Breakers game. So make sure to tune in, as we will be right here live on YouTube once again. Still no super chats Wednesday and Thursday because we're in YouTube jail
Till like January.
And the fun thing about the Tulsa game, for those of you sickos that are already looking at the 2025 draft and eyeballing that Clippers pick, or even beyond, there's a guy with the last name Lopez on the Breakers that you should keep an eye on.
Isn't he not eligible until 2026? To your
I said and beyond.
Well, who's 2025?
We got Buzz Lightyear over here.
Buzz Lightyear. Oh, I get it.
To infinity.
I get it.
There you go. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Join us Wednesday night after the conclusion of Thunder versus Rockets. More deep dive analysis like tonight. Hey, we stayed on topic the entire show. I'm impressed.
You did.
Even with me on.
I am impressed. No top of the Egyptian juice or anything. I'm impressed. Proud of you guys. Nick clearly
worse
hasn't
than
listened to
mummy
yesterday's
juice.
episode yet.
I've not.
We will see you guys Wednesday. Until then, and as always, Thunder up.